Hey, everybody. We are back here on another episode of Let's Talk on Skeptic Haven. And what we're talking about today is community, how to have it, how to grow it, how to sustain it, all that good stuff. I just got back from hanging out with a bunch of atheists in Kentucky, and I am telling you what, we sacrificed as many babies and ate them as much as we could. We had a great freaking time, and we are going to talk about it today. If you want, give us a call, 984-789-4787, because the show's starting now. Let's talk.
This is Skeptic Haven. Let's talk.
Woo! Welcome, everybody. It is the 8th of September, 2024, in the year of not our Lord or anybody's Lord, because they're probably not out there. But hey, I'm here. I'm Secular Rarity. We are hanging out on Skeptic Haven, and joining me is the always amazing Miss Hell's Bells. What the fuck is up, Helen? Can I say that yet? That's
hey,
too early.
Everybody.
I shouldn't have said that. Don't strike us, guys. Send us super chats right now, because I cussed way too early. We were doing so good. We were doing so good.
You didn't wait 10 minutes, man.
I know. It's just right out the gate. What is wrong with me? It's like I've never done this before. I've never been on one of these shows.
I know. You haven't done any sort of atheist content on YouTube at all.
You either. You're not out there. You're not out there all over the place or anything.
This is my virgin launch.
Well, we are glad that you are gracing us with your very first appearance. If you weren't appearing here for the first time, I've heard that I've heard that there is some organization that you have hung out with before, that you have chatted about in the ether, so it were. It's a cool organization that might have some community stuff coming up soon. What is that? What is this thing that or am I just making this up? I could be crazy. It's very possible.
You're making it up. It's all an illusion.
It's very, very fair.
It's fever dreams you're having.
Yeah. Honestly, it's been hot. It's been hot lately.
So, for those of you that don't know me, and if you don't, I'm sorry. I'm an ambassador and volunteer with Recovery from Religion, and our mission statement is to help people to help people find oh my God, support, healing. Hope, healing, and support. Oh my God. Hope, healing, and support for those seeking help with doubt and non-belief. I totally messed that up. If Dr. Ray is watching, I'm going to get scolded. But
it's not bad if you're going to get scolded by somebody.
So on top of what we do through the hotline and our online community, and also our support groups and our podcast, we are having an excursion in 2 weeks. It'll be the last weekend of, hold on, I'll tell you. It is going from the 27th to the 29th, and it's going to be in Charlottesville, Virginia. And it's kind of like a camp out. We have cabins, and we're going to have like workshops and smart groups. And it's also because we connect with a lot of people that are going through this process, and a lot of people support our organization. So this is a good way for clients and agents, and those of us that are part of the RFR to directly like give hugs and hang out with the people that we've helped. So this year is going to be great. Charlie Siegel is going to come, who does a bunch of like music for recovering from religion and atheist community of Austin. That she is going to be doing like a sing along at the excursion, and she'll be there, and like Dr. Ben's going to be there. And so it's a really wonderful time. So if you are in the Charlottesville area and would like to join us for some community time, please go to our website, www.recoveringfromreligion.com. fallreligion.org and fill out the Fall Excursion 2024. There's an application. And if you can't swing the full amount we do have subsidies available. So that's one way you can find community connect. So
absolutely, a lot of help and support on that. And yeah, I mean, this is, we're huge fans here. If y'all are hanging out with us for the first time and you don't know, we're huge fans here of Recovering from Religion, Secular Therapy Project. Those organizations are absolutely phenomenal. They've obviously helped so many people and been that support and community that so many people need and want. And that really is a massive front when it comes to this, critical thinking, secular humanism, skeptic, atheist type, spaces that we find ourselves in. It is really frustrating, because if you're going to give a point to the religions, if you're gonna say they got something right, boy, can they throw a potluck. I mean, they can bring some people together and have a damn good time. And that's a bummer that we have such a, an uphill battle on our side. So it's awesome that, places like RFR and Secular Therapy and here, obviously, and so many other places are doing that. And you were at the last one too, right?
Yeah, I went last year. It was my first time being to any sort of atheist event, other than like I did Free Flow earlier that year, but that was more of like a conference. And I was shilling for RFR, so I wasn't. Obviously, I got to hang out like Seth Andrews and Carlos Engineer and some other people active in the atheist community, and that's great, because then you get to know people that are doing any sort of work in skeptic, being better skeptic, critical thinking, humanist organizations, people that are aligned with the values that we hold. But it's really important, especially in this community, for the one thing, throw a potluck and the community is built right into a church. It's just go to church, you'll make friends.
Yep.
It's going to happen. And you can find people that, if you're having problems with, you need a new alarm system in your house, and you get connected with someone that can help, give you a discount or give advice, and everybody within that community kind of supports each other. And that's normal. And, I'm not poo-pooing on that. But us as atheists, and this, I think, also comes from, because there is some reluctancy when people leave religion to get involved with another community group because of the abuse that happens, and that feeling like, am I going to be drawn into ideas that aren't my own? Online communities are a little safer for that, because you can choose. If it's not for you, you can just sign off. Where if you're going to start any sort of atheist community in your hometown, that you got to get people to come, and you got to be consistent, and you got to have things for people to do. Even if it's going, to painting with a twist, and giving them an activity to do something like that. This is something we as a community have to work on. It's very easy for us to plug in online. SR and me are both plugged into many communities online, and the most important thing I can suggest to everybody is seek out your own secular skeptical thinking, like science groups, and where you live. Because getting together with face-to-face people, it's going to make a huge difference than just being online.
Oh my gosh, I so totally freaking agree. So this weekend I was hanging out up near Cincinnati, hanging out with the Kentucky Free Thought conference. So shout out to y'all. That was a wonderful conference. Super great. Had just amazing speakers, right? Got to see my buddy John the Skeptic get up there and give a great speech. Oh my gosh, you guys.
Great.
when I tell you this, okay, I'm not going to give it away. I'm not going to ruin it, John. Okay. Don't worry, my brother. But guys, be watching the Skeptics channel here. If you're not already watching, by the way, I mean, you just need to be. He's great, right? But you got to watch here shortly because he's about to drop some stuff that he brought out at this conference over the weekend, and I was pissing myself laughing. I just thought it was so fucking wonderful.
That's great.
So and there's just something about that, being able to turn the corner and just see people and give them a hug, and I was so lucky to meet so many absolutely incredible people and get to just chat and hear people's story and stuff. There's something really, really powerful about being in person, and I'm not saying all of that to like you said, poo-poo the online space. Absolutely not. Online is amazing. I have met incredible, wonderful people, had incredible opportunities because of these types of spaces like Skeptic Haven, like RFR, ACA. I mean, there's so many that we could list. But man, when you just get together and you're literally breaking bread with new friends and hugging each other and laughing, it's just absolutely awesome. And that's, real quick, folks, this is a call-in show. I mean, trust me, Helen and I can fill the time. We can talk, and we're happy to do it. But if you've got some stories about community, or you've got some questions about local communities in your area, give us a call here. It's very simple to do it. We make it easy. There's a phone number. There's a little link. You just click the buttons. No effort at all. So yeah, I think there's something really, really important about having that in-person community. And you mentioned something just a second ago. I want to get some thoughts on, because I love it. I love this thought, which is, looking for that local community, trying to find that space in your area. What do you do? How do you do that? Where do you go? Is there a way? What help me, Helen? Tell us what to do.
So let me tell you what you should do. So, for example, Recovering from Religion, all of our meetups are on, all of our meetings, in-person meetings and the virtual meetings are on Meetup. So what you do is you go to meetup.com and you search for your city, and you just put in skeptic group, humanist group, science group, look up a book club. Because there are plenty of because they're not going to have like an official name like Recovering from Religion. There's the Free Thought Society. Those they have local chapters and things like that. So look for those things. So that's how you got to think like, okay, what kind of group do I want to belong in? Do I want to belong to like humanist volunteers, like Atheists Feed the Homeless? Do you want, so you're getting plugged into at need communities in your area that are being and that work is being done by atheists, so you want to do some volunteer work through there. You may want to see if you want to get involved in like skeptical thinking and how to think like a scientist, and how to get better at your critical thinking skills. That's another, you can look up that people that are part of the was it a Free Thought Foundation? Is it Free Thought Foundation? What? Hold on.
Ooh, maybe. I'm not sure on that.
Maybe.
We've got a Free Thought Society of Murfreesboro that's close to me, where I'm at in Middle Tennessee. But
there's a. No, go ahead. Finish your thought. I'm sorry.
No. I was just gonna say I think exactly what you're talking about is right. There's a lot of different groups. There's a lot of different organizations, and you have options as to what to choose. Like Helen was saying, there is a group in your area that's probably doing something. They may not have that hardcore label of atheist, maybe they're humanists, maybe they're free thinkers, maybe they're non-religious, maybe they're secular humanists, maybe they're skeptics, That's awesome. That's awesome. Like go look at those groups, go look into them because there's something for you. But yeah, please tell me some more. Where did you how did you find local groups?
So I got involved with my local Satanic Temple chapter because I was plugged into a lot of the skeptic groups online, working with the ACA, NRFR, and Skeptic Haven. So I was like, okay, I'm like, let me go actually meet people. And I got I haven't gone together with them recently because I moved south of Sarasota. So, but I'm still plugged in with these people online on Discord, and I know them in person. And it's not because I was like, because I love ritual. I love a show.
Right.
And I wanted to have that feeling of, when I was a pagan and doing rituals and bonding with people and having focus and things like that, but also, being plugged into the things that I care about, the separation of church and state, and calling on the hypocrisy of religion, and also this, being around a bunch of weird people, like a bunch of queers and, people calling people they're, and just like, these are
great.
people.
It's great. Exactly.
So this is the type of stuff you want to think about. Cause also like there are non-religious churches, you can get involved with Unitarian Universalists. There are humanist churches that exist that have like, services. They're not like worshiping a god or anything, but it's about building community, getting together and like singing songs and having that feeling of friendship and camaraderie that is already plugged into the church. And if that was something that was beneficial to you when you are part of a church and you're just missing it, see if there's local chapters around you. If you're a student, get plugged into the Secular Student Alliance. There's tons and tons of organizations that exist, but luckily we live in the future. And Google is your friend. Google is the all-knowing God. So if you just put it into the Google machine, I'm sure that you can find those groups on Facebook, Instagram. Use your social medias. You have the tools, but then you have the tools. Then you have to have the little bit of bravery to like go out and talk to people in person.
Ooh. Okay, so you're hitting some good points, and I want to come back to these because I like them. We've got a call here. We're gonna grab that in just a second. And just as a reminder, folks, we are here taking your calls. Okay, yes, Helen and I are talking about atheist community and stuff, and I think she just brought up a fantastic thing. We're gonna talk some more about. But give us your calls. We're always here to take questions. We want to talk about God and critical thinking and so forth. So yeah, interrupt us at any point, but we're going to come back to that, Helen, about the idea that there's a little bit of work involved and there's a little bit of bravery involved and what that means and kind of how we roll with that. So let's grab Brady on the line. She, her in Pennsylvania is an atheist just like us. Awesome. Going to hell. That's great. You're calling us today.
It's gonna be me and David Bowie and Hitler. We're all gonna have a duplex.
That's right. That's right. So Brady, you're calling and asking, is cultural appropriation necessarily a bad thing? Give us flesh that out a bit for us. What does that mean? What are you asking here?
Oh, I was going to ask you that because I hear that, cultural appropriation is a bad thing from people all over. I'm wondering what is that, and do you think it's a bad thing? That's what I'm wondering.
Heck yeah. I love that question. Helen, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, is it bad? What is it what is cultural appropriation to begin with? We've heard that term a lot.
It is basically taking something from somebody else's culture and taking it on as something of your own, whether it be like jewelry or clothing or art or whatever. And I think it's, for me, I think it's a nuanced conversation. I don't think it's simple and because like, for example, when I was pagan, there's a lot of cultural appropriation that happens within pagan circles.
Oh, sure.
And the reason why is because a lot of ancient religions come from different cultures. Like people get really into Egyptian mythicism and, you know, their pantheon and things like that, for example. But and like Native Americanism. But I always say that, like, why are you doing it? Two, do you truly understand the historical context and the reason why people have certain symbols that they do? Now, for example, I when I was involved in the pagan community, I was really into like Native American stuff, but at the time I had a very surface level understanding of it because I didn't obviously grow up in that culture. And then as I started to realize, it's like, you know, I'm a white girl. Most of my family's from East, Northern, and Southern Europe. All the white people. And as the colonizer, I don't understand on the long history and context of people from certain cultures. And so I think it can be nuanced, but if I wanted to wear a pair of beaded earrings that was made by someone that was from that culture, I don't think that's, you know, that's something that I was like, I just like, these are pretty, you know, they're not, it's not technical. And I think that's the type of conversation we need to have. We have to figure out how much do I know? How much respect do I have for that culture? And depending where you are, you know, your heredity,
we may have lost Helen. That's okay, because I think where she was going was you know, a similar place to kind of where I'm at. So I think there's a line between cultural Oh, good, we're back. Finish. Did you finish that?
Because you were going where I was going. Yeah, you were pretty much summarizing. So go ahead, keep going.
I think there's a line between cultural appropriation and cultural appreciation, right? And it's worth having the conversation about where, like, what that actually is, right? So, for instance, somebody that always comes to my mind in these spaces is a guy named Thomas Paine. Thomas Paine was, you know, just some fucking dude just running around, you know, late 1700s, you know, North America, right? And ended up, you know, being somebody that was a voice for, you know, critical thinking and reason and humanism and all this stuff, right? And actually writes, you know, something that really helps spur a lot of people say, yeah, okay, let's fight off the British, make this own country or whatever. But that's what you hear in the schools. What's really fascinating about Thomas Paine's life is that over the course of his lifetime, he was actually inducted into a handful of different Native American tribes because he spent years spending time with these groups, learning from them, writing down their histories and studying their various techniques, right? If Thomas Paine is wearing some clearly Native American cultural garb, I don't think that's appropriation, right? I think that's appreciation. He's some cracker from Europe, you know, went to the elite Ivy League East Coast school, whatever, right? I mean, absolutely, that's what absolutely, that's what he is, right? That's his background. But the man literally had his hands in the communities for decades, was a vital player, was somebody that helped spread the message. And so that line of appreciation and appropriation, I think, goes back to something you were saying, Helen, about the knowledge that you have about this culture and about this, you know, cultural touchstone, whether that's clothing or ritual or you know, dance or whatever, right? The knowledge that you have about that and its history and how it relates to you and other things, and then the respect that you give for this stuff, right? I think that's really the key, man, because I can think of, just for instance, I'm gonna use a hypothetical. I can think of a couple of buddies of mine who, although their family has historical, cultural, ethnic ties to, say, El Salvador. I mean, my buddy grew up in fucking Hermitage, man. You ain't you American, you Tennessean, my brother. You're just as much as from Nashville as I am, Now that doesn't discount any of that history, that culture, that heritage, any of that. But even somebody in that capacity, right, I think can still appropriate El Salvadorian culture because they're not giving it respect. They don't care about they're flippant about this, and they say, fuck it, whatever, man. It's just some dumb shit we do, right? Whereas we can have, again, somebody like Thomas Paine, this bougie, well-to-do cracker from Europe, coming in and actually appreciating and caring and being somebody that advances and supports, as opposed to caricatures and denigrates. So I think that line again is between appreciation and appropriation, and I think it's kind of like. So go ahead, please.
Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like what you're saying is that if you want to, let's say you're wearing a sombrero, for example, and you're respectful of the culture and its values, everything's all good. But if you are over exaggerating and you are
making fun of,
if you're over exaggerating, if you're a caricature, almost even mocking it, that's bad. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't want to completely take off the table of just like humor and mockery, because I think there is some good humor and mockery and playfulness, that can be used in a way where it is kind of poking fun at, the differences in history and culture. I mean, one of the things I always think of, and again, that this isn't, I mean, what you said was 100% correct, Brady. I think that's the distinction and that's the line. But I always think of like I think it was maybe the 3rd season of Key and Peele. Great sketch show. Keegan-Michael Key, Jordan Peele, absolutely brilliant, hilarious guys, right? And
it's so good.
They made fun of, everybody. They do this one bit though, where Keegan is talking about how, these hardcore badass, like cholo Mexican gangsters came up to them one day, just tatted all out in the face, big ass fucking, earrings and shit, and came up and were like, hey man, you guys need to make fun of us, man. We want to be part of it too, man. You guys got to make fun of us, man. You making fun of everybody else. You're not making fun of us, man. We want to laugh too. So I think there is some value in that, right? But I think the reason that reaction was had by that individual is because of the respect that somebody like Jordan Peele or Keegan-Michael Key was giving to these topics. Yeah, we're going to poke fun at, the Pakistani community in the United States, or we're going to poke fun at the suburban white community, or we're going to poke, but we do it with
fun at these people.
Say again?
I'm asking for clarification. It's okay to poke fun at these people. Is that what you're saying?
Well, in some contexts, yeah. Again, it's okay in some contexts to have mockery and humor, because it can be a light way to be playful with people.
I think it's a matter of, like, are you punching down? If the intent is like, because like I'm French, I'm part French, and I make fun of French culture all the time. But I'm from that culture, so I'm just using this as an example. Like, for me, I always see it like humor is very subjective, but I also think too is that, are you punching down? If the humor is not intent to make fun of, like, cultural norms that people that aren't from your culture, but they find a little silly, and they're in on the joke, that's one thing. But if it's like to say, like, you know, I putting me in a position of superiority over somebody else,
right,
and insulting them because, you know, that the thing they do in their culture, I don't understand it, so I'm going to make fun of it. There's
exactly.
a difference. They have to be in on the joke too.
Exactly. Like just the other day.
Okay, I guess I guess Helen, by what you're saying is then you don't support drag queens then.
Why would you say that?
Oh, because, well, what Helen just said, if you are punching down, that's not good. If the people that are the butt of the joke are in on the joke, then fine. Drag queens are people masquerading as women, and it's not like they're usually just men masquerading as women and kind of a caricature of women. So I guess by your logic, by what you guys have been saying,
okay, so I think
drag queens.
I think that's where I would probably push back a little, at least to begin with, is the idea that it's a caricature necessarily.
On this, so I welcome that.
Yeah. I think I don't know that I would say drag is always a caricature. I mean, drag is kitsch and drag is camp. But one of the things about both of those.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so kitsch and camp are this is so funny. I literally was having this conversation with somebody the other day. So kitsch and camp are artistic styles. It's kind of like modernism or Baroque, you know. What's the other one I'm thinking of right now? All the twists and stuff. It doesn't matter. But kitsch and camp are these artistic styles that relate to behavior, that relate to like paintings, videography, that relate to fashion, that design, all these types of different things. And while caricature and outrageous proportions and so forth is a part of both of those styles, it's not in the same sense as, for instance, even just comedy and parody, right? Like parody is specifically pointing out something and making fun of it. But even that isn't in that same boat as what Helen was talking about, of like mockery in a denigration sense, right? Like there is still another, all of these are like steps on a ladder, and is kind of the way I see them. And there's a higher level.
Can I simplify my question?
Sure, please.
Real quick? Can I just simplify it real quick?
Yeah.
Okay. How is being a drag queen different from like that blackface? And I understand that, you know, blackface is bad. I understand that, but how is it different?
Yeah, because I think.
Well, the thing is, though.
Go ahead, Helen, please.
Oh, because we understand that blackface has cultural context, because this was a reaction from white people to denigrate and make fun of Black people, like myths that they had, ideas and things, and performances that were disparaging to, you know, Black people. Yeah, drag isn't disparaging to me as a woman. Like, I don't look at drag queens, and that's the difference. Like, I go to drag shows and they're fun and it's lighthearted, and and there's some drag queens that serve women better than I do, you know. So you know, I'm like, damn. And that's because we understand that they're not doing it out of mockery.
It was lighthearted. Would that be okay?
Hang on, Brady. Hang on. Start over again. Helen was finishing up.
So for me, like, I'm not insulted when I see people putting on a performance, because I paid to go see a show. I gave money to go see such show. And I'm getting something out of it. They're fun. It's lighthearted. You know, there's usually jokes and dancing and cool costumes, and and it's a joyous celebration of the queer community. Blackface is punching down.
Yeah, go ahead, Brady. What do you think of that?
Black person that's not offended by thank you. If there is a Black person who is not offended by blackface, is that similar to what you're saying, Helen, about being a woman not offended by drag queens?
So I don't think so. I don't think so. And I think part of this is part of this comes from, so if we think about it from the distinction of like appropriation and appreciation, right? Like that distinction to me is kind of like murder and killing. So there is an okay version of killing. There is as abrupt and weird and offensive as that may be to people. I bet you if I sat down and I talked with everybody watching right now, they'd agree there's an acceptable point at which we can kill somebody. Now, what that's going to be is a justified killing. What that's going to be is a self-defense, right? But then there's a distinction where we have of a type of killing called murder. And that murder is always bad because we have this classification of it is specifically the killing of an individual that we have no justification for, right? We have no defense reason. We have no, they were stealing from me. We have none of that. But we do have a version of killing where it's okay. Now, with appropriation and appreciation, these activities, right? So again, you're comparing drag to blackface, and you're saying like, well, hey man, I don't know, this person kind of dressing up and acting like something that they're not. And it's like, okay, but mascots do that too, right? Like the mascot for the baseball team in Nashville, my home, is like a fiery chicken. Like that's not actually a fiery chicken, right?
Caricatures and racist, and I do think that is what I think. Yes.
Say again.
I do think that there are mascots who are racist and are caricatures. Yeah. I do think that.
I'm with you there too. I'm with you there too. And the reason that I brought up mascots is just to say that, like, basically, if the comparison that we're making between blackface and drag, like you brought up, is that in both scenarios, this is an individual that is portraying themselves in a manner that they are not, right? We've got a white guy making his face dark and painting his skin and, you know, doing all this extra stuff to really accentuate stuff, right? Big old lips. And I mean, it's, you know, all the pictures, right? You've seen them all. And if you're saying that's,
I don't know about all of them, but I've seen enough.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm not sitting there on a Friday night just looking up pictures. Yeah, for sure. But if what you're saying, the comparison between that and drag is that caricature is still coming out, that somebody portraying themselves as something that they're not is still happening. What I would just say is, yeah, I think you're probably right in that, seeing the similarity between that, but that's not where I see the problem, right? It's not that the problem is necessarily somebody portraying themselves as something that they're not. It's not even necessarily, like I was saying with the mockery bit, it's not even necessarily that there's a bit of mockery in there that actually draws that line. Where the distinction and, really comes in, and Helen was touching on this earlier, is this superiority, this denigration, this purposeful, I'm doing this so that you see how fucking less than this category is than us. See, we're so much better. That's why I'm looking like this, so that we can make fun of the fact that that's how they look. That's not where drag is coming from. Drag is coming from. Please go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, so what if a bunch of white people put on a heartfelt salute to Black history in blackface? Not big lips, not big lips, just makeup, an honest tribute.
So there has been,
is that okay?
There has been some instances where blackface was utilized in an appropriate context. There has been instances where individuals have done these things that we all instantly kind of cringe at and go, oh my God, that's not okay. You shouldn't do that. That's really fucked up, And the reason is because they are specific and purposeful and they have attention to the ramifications for doing certain things. If you're going to put out a movie that touches a certain topic really hardcore, especially with humor, you got to make sure that you handle it appropriately and you take time to actually present the situation honestly and be respectful and supportive. And again, there have been instances of this where people have done it
and I
well.
think also
I'm not saying I think it's the number one thing we should be doing, but again, yeah, it's not completely off the table. But please go ahead.
I think, but my kind of feeling like, are you consulting the group? So if a bunch of white people are like, we're part of, you know, talking about, you know, Black history, white people's effect on Black history, and they are working with people of that community to bring forth an honest representation of what the like blackface or anything like that means. So it's not, again, we're doing this because we're trying to show how fucked up this is and why it's wrong and why it's had an effect on the Black community. Now, to go back to your question, what if it's a black person's okay with it? I don't know that person. It makes me uncomfortable because the people that I have made friends that are people of color aren't a big fan of it, and I understand the historical context of it, so I always cringe. I'm like, I'm like, ugh, gross. But if a person of color is not offended by it, that's their. Then I'm not the one to talk about it.
Hang on, Brady. Hang on, Brady.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're okay. There's a delay.
No, I'm just saying that people aren't a monolith. And you're going to have people on a spectrum of what they're okay with and what they're not okay with. And I'm always like, are you punching down? I'm always asking, are you punching down? If you're punching down and you're saying I'm superior than another group, then I'm going to have a problem.
Go ahead, Brady. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, you can't talk to every Black person that may or may not be offended by blackface, just like you can't talk to every woman who may or may not be offended by drag queens, right? So
I don't think.
I'm struggling to see that. I'm struggling. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to interrupt. I'm struggling
my bad.
to see the distinction because drag queens do seem like a caricature of women. So
okay,
can you maybe
let me try and help?
If you're not opposed to drag queens, okay. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Let me try and help there, because I think you had brought up something about like, well, I mean, you know, you can't ask every woman in the world if they're offended by drag queens, and like, yeah, you're totally right. I totally get you. You know, maybe we could do, you know, we're skeptics here. We love the science and the data, right? Maybe you could do a
drag kings too.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But hey, like, let's say we did a fucking we did a 10-year poll and we found that 87% of self-identified women in the United States or the world all said it was fine. Whatever. That doesn't change anything. If only 5% of the people were okay with it, that wouldn't change what I'm saying, I think. Because what I'm saying is more in a step back sense, that what is that line? How do we make that distinction? There is a set of criteria on one side, and there's a set of criteria on the other. And while some of those may overlap, there are some really key ones that I think make the distinction. Again, the same thing between, you know, killing, justified killing especially, and murder, right? We've pushed the criteria to murder to such a specific place that what we're saying is this is a killing of another human being that is always, no matter what, not cool, bro. And so I think, again, that distinction is between appropriation and appreciation, which comes down to basically, again, that level of respect and care for this activity, for this culture, for this thing that you're engaging in, however you're engaging it, right? You could just wear a fucking t-shirt and be a dickhead, cultural appropriator, fucking asshole. You could also just wear a t-shirt and be very, very knowledgeable, somebody that got this t-shirt because they spent 5 years working at an organization, building community, you know, being there every Tuesday, bringing food for the potluck, whatever it is, right? And I think that does matter. Now, you don't always get that when the sketch show comes on, right? Or you pass the demonstration on your street corner, or the TikTok video goes by. You don't always have all of that context, but a lot of times that context isn't terribly difficult to come by, especially today, right? And so for me, oftentimes where I will draw that line, because I think there can be a softer version of this, right? Where all of a sudden, you know, like your buddy, your best friend that you've been hanging out with for years comes meet you at the bar one Friday and is just like, man, can you believe what's fucking happening and blah, blah? Like, we need to do everything. We got to stand up for and we care. And you're just like, whoa, man, I've never heard you talk about Somalia before in my life. I didn't know you knew. I had no idea you knew anything about the Rohingya or you know, the military junta there. I didn't know shit. You knew anything about what's going on in Myanmar, man. That's a bit different to me than somebody who for the last like 3 years has been like, hey man, did you hear about this crazy shit going on in Argentina, man? And you know, I got family back there. I mean, it's like my cousins, second roommates, dog sitters, best friends, cousins, relative, but like we're connected, you know, like, and we've been chatting all the time and we do this and we do. So again, I think there is that line where oftentimes your actions can really distinguish. If this is somebody that is here every day, every week, supporting people, building people up, saying, man, isn't this awesome? And yeah, they crack a joke or two. Yeah, they make fun of some things that about white people or you know, Canadians or whatever, right? Like, yeah, okay. That's a big difference from the guy off the street just 5 minutes ago who walks in, looks around and says something like, wow, there's a lot of dark people in here. Ha 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 ha. No, I'm just kidding, guys. It's like, I don't know that you are, bro. I don't know that you are, bro. That sounds a bit fucked up.
I have a question for you, Brady. Do you find drag queens offensive to women? Okay, and why? I'm curious why.
I don't have a problem with what many people call cultural appropriation. I think that it's inconsistent to say that, you know, wearing a sombrero is cultural appropriation, but drag queens are okay. I see a lot of inconsistencies with the people, and I feel like it's a white person problem where we are saying this is cultural appropriation, and I think that's a problem we created. I'm a white person.
I think it's more, so if I will, I'll real quick. I'm so sorry to cut you off. I'm sorry to cut you off, Brady. Hang on just a second. I'm going to mute you. I'm going to mute you just a second. I'm so sorry. I don't like to, but cause I want to give you some validation there. Cause I think there is some of that. Absolutely. That comes through. Like I am lucky enough now to be connected to some white people, but not in the US. Some people that are in totally different cultures and have totally different histories and stuff. And like, they don't seem to struggle as much with this. I do think that is a fair point. I do totally think that's fair. But you're talking about the inconsistency of it. And what I want to know is, and I'll unmute you here just a second. I swear I'll shut the fuck up. I'll even mute myself. I'll let you talk. I want to hear this. Do you think there's an inconsistency with the distinction between appreciation and appropriation? Because in that context, I see how there could be the exact same action or consequence, wearing the sombrero. That's what we've been using, right? I see how with that distinction, though, the exact same action could be seen as good and also as bad, but I don't see it as being inconsistent. I think there's a clear criteria there. Hang on. Mute you. You're going to hear probably a beep or something yells at you. I'm so sorry. Okay. But does that make sense? And what do you think of that?
Well, there was a beep. Just what is your question?
Question was, you had talked about inconsistency with the discussion about cultural appropriation. And I was asking if, with the distinction between cultural appreciation and cultural appropriation that I gave earlier about denigration versus support, about knowing the history versus being just completely mocking and hating of it, right? Superiority. Do you think that that distinction cuts down the inconsistency? Do you think that addresses the inconsistency issue you're talking about?
Can you shorten your question a little bit?
I'll try. Yeah, I'll try. Because I think what you're, well, let's start here. Tell me if I'm understanding you right. It sounds like one of the things you're saying, pushing back on people saying this is cultural appropriation is bad. One of the things you're pushing back on is it sounds like it's inconsistent and the same action can be viewed as good or bad, just depending on the day. Am I kind of reading that right? Okay.
I don't know if it's based on the day. I think it's probably based on who the target is, who is being not caricaturized. I don't know, for lack of a better word, but impersonated, caricaturized, for lack of a better word. I'm sorry, I'm blinking. It's not about what day it is.
Right. No. I get what you're saying. I was being a little flippant with that. Yeah, it's not.
Sure.
It's inconsistent in the sense that, again, the same action of wearing the sombrero in some instances is considered good and okay, and in some instances it's considered bad and not okay. Is that where you're coming from? Am I understanding that right?
Maybe. Sure. It might depend on somebody's intentions, but how can you know what someone's intentions are?
Well, so I think, right. Okay. So that's exactly where I would say it is. Intentions matter a lot, and you can't always know that. And we won't always be perfect on cutting this line right. But there are some times where certain actions really, really give away your intentions, whether you want them to or not, no matter what you say. If I walk outside, if I walk outside and I punch the first person in the face, and then I say, I just want to love everybody, man. I just want to hug people. I have done an action that specifically contradicts that supposed stance that I've said, right? So again, for instance, let's just say blackface or drag, right? Somebody's engaging in one of these things. And somebody comes out and says, hey, y'all, we're just doing this for fun. You know, we just love each other and everything. But by the way, seriously, all queer people should be rounded up and put in jail. And here's a sign-up list that you can vote for this politician that's going to fucking do that. Like, that action seems to me like it contradicts that stated goal earlier. Yeah, it seems a bit inconsistent there. And that would be where I would say, although I think you're right, Brady, we don't know this person's intention. Maybe they're just some crazy radical fucking comic. But I would probably go in that moment, hey, man, I think you're probably doing the appropriation thing and not the appreciation thing, because of the fact that it seems to me that your actions do not align with this stated purpose that you've mentioned. Is that fair? Is that a fair distinction?
I'm sorry, you've said a lot.
I know I did. I'm sorry.
Say that. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's my ADHD, not your problem.
Here, welcome to the ADHD club. We're neurosparkly.
I'm sorry, Helen, you were talking. Go ahead.
I was saying I have ADHD too. So welcome to the neurosparkly club. Anyway.
Go ahead,
go ahead, finish your thought. And I have some comments.
Yeah, sure. If you're outright mocking somebody's culture, then I have a problem with it, just like I assume you do. I would also argue you don't know someone's motivation. Somebody wearing a sombrero, you don't know. A white guy wearing a sombrero, you don't know if he's mocking or if he's just ruining the sombreros. You don't know.
True.
So,
but do you think it's fair that there's a way to find that out?
Somebody in blackface from a drag queen. How do you distinguish the two things?
Well, that's kind of what I was asking.
For example,
do you think it's fair that there's a way? I agree. When you come across the first white guy in a sombrero,
you're both
and that's
talking at the same time.
I know it's my fault, honestly, because I get excited and I talk uncontrollably, and nobody. I'm not reined in. Nobody controls me. Wes has no power here. But the point is, if they muted me. They just to prove me wrong. They fucking muted me for a second. Yeah, just to prove me wrong. They were like, "Fuck you, we'll pull you down, bitch." No.
There's too many too many straight white cis men just talking.
That is true. That's true. That's true. I'm one of them. Yeah. This is cultural appropriation happening live.
Right.
I apologize, Brady. I apologize, but I think the point you made is good in the sense that if you come across a white guy and he's wearing a sombrero, and that's all the context and information you have, you don't know, and you can't make a decision. But, quick question, and then I'll let Helen go on this after you answer. Do you think there are certain actions that individual could do that could give you an indication as to whether or not they are being genuine and supportive or being denigrating and mocking?
Do I think there is an action that would point me to whether or not they're supportive or mocking? Is that what you're asking?
Correct. That scenario of like coming across a white guy in a sombrero.
Take somebody's word. I would probably try. I would have to take someone's word for it because I can't read minds.
Sure, but there are certain actions that they could still do. If somebody walks up to you and says, "I don't like chocolate milk. I fucking hate chocolate milk. I will never drink chocolate milk." And then they drink a glass of chocolate milk in front of you. Wouldn't you then go, "Boy, that seems contradictory to what you just said"?
I would.
Absolutely. So there are certain actions that a white guy in a sombrero could do despite their word that would make you go, "Hey man, that doesn't seem like that fits." Like the first thing he says is, he goes, "Hey, I just really am supportive of Latin American culture. I think there's so much vibrancy and love and compassion, and I just want to celebrate it." And you go, "Yeah, sure." And then he just tells like 5 racist jokes in a row. You'd probably be like, "Oh man, I don't know that exactly matches." Say what?
Like I'm not a racist, but
yeah, exactly. Right. You see what I'm saying? Right. You see what I'm saying? Like there are certain actions that I think we all agree that if somebody started doing these, despite whatever their stated context is, right, we would go, "Okay, that's pretty far over the line, bro. You know, that seems to be really contradictory." But I agree with you in the sense that if we just come across certain situations and we don't have any other context, we truly don't know. And us just instantly going, "Oh, that's cultural appropriation. You're a racist piece of shit. Clearly you're a Nazi." Like, whoa, guys, hang the fuck on. Maybe this guy has spent the last 13 years of his life building fucking homes in Honduras. Like, I don't know. Talk to him for 5 seconds before you make that claim. I'm with you there. I think that's kind of where you were going, Brady. But I'm going to try my best to shut the fuck up again before the wonderful crew here mutes me. Helen, go ahead, please.
So, like, we understand that drag is a performance. Like, it's literally back to the Shakespeare times, where it was written in the margin of Shakespeare plays, dress representing a girl. So we understand it's a performance. People that are like Hispanic, it's not a performance. They are Hispanic. And I understand, like, when I go to a drag show, I'm probably going to go to a gay club and they probably have a regular basis. And then it's performance, and then the person takes off the costume and they go about their lives. So that's also it's all about context. Drag is a context. Now, if there was like a misogynist male that was putting on a drag performance to mock women, I would be like, okay, well, you don't understand what drag is, man. Because drag is about honoring women, about because a lot of drag queens do a lot of history.
Yeah, sorry, we had a little bit of trouble with audio.
So what?
I'm not quite hearing Helen.
So
go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead again.
Well, Helen's telling
so what I'm saying is
in and out. I can't quite hear what she's saying.
Well, what ultimately I think where she's coming from, and tell me if I'm wrong, Helen. Ultimately, I think where she's coming from is a similar place that we've been talking about this whole time, about how context is deeply important here. The same thing is true with, again, I brought up the example of taking a human being's life. At the end of the day, the consequence is the same, right? There's a dead human being in front of us, but how we got to that point is deeply, deeply important as to whether or not this is something that we whether we as an individual and we societally think this is okay. And so the same is true for drag, cultural appropriation, blackface, all of these things. And I think where, again, and it's not a perfect system. I don't disagree with that. You know, it's kind of like when the religious people tell us, well, you don't have a basis for being a good person. And we go, well, I don't know, like well-being. And they're like, well, that's not well-founded. That's not a perfect system. It's like, yeah, you're right. It's not perfect, but I think it's still pretty good. And I think that pretty good system, that distinction, is about denigration, is about lifting up versus pushing down, is about respect and you know, genuine sincerity for a culture or an activity or a history, whatever, right? I think that's where, and again, I think you brought up some great points, which is like, hey man, we can't know that. We can't know people's fucking minds. Like, yeah, totally. And I think we've gotten it wrong. I think we've gotten it wrong sometimes as like a society. Like somebody said something on Twitter, or somebody did a thing, and everybody was like, wow, what a worthless piece of shit. And then come to find out, like, actually, this guy spent 10 years with the Maori community learning stuff, and that was why he did this, you know? Like, they loved it. Everybody in that community bought 5 fucking copies of the DVD or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So I'm with you on that. I think there's some trouble with it, and I think we've made wrong conclusions from that. But I think there is enough of a distinction between that appropriation and appreciation line that we can say, hey, this is where it goes too far, you know? Is that fair? What do you think on some of that, Brady?
So the line, yeah, definitely there's probably a line where it's too far, and I can enjoy irony and things like that, but the line is not at women, from what you're saying. Is it black people? Is that the line?
What?
Now we've gone
No, wait a second. We didn't say, wait a minute. We didn't say it wasn't at women. Well, we're saying that context matters. Yeah. Because if, as a feminist, if I interact with anyone that makes me think, they're trying to push me down and say that I don't have equal say in society because I own a vagina, I'm going to push back against that. I don't see that in the queer community. A lot of people in the queer community are feminists, and they fight for social justice in these causes. So I align with that community.
Are in favor of women, it's okay. Is that what you're saying?
Well, not exactly.
Because they usually are.
Yeah,
but that's not exactly what I'm saying. I'm always like, everything is context. Everything is context.
Because people who are doing drag are okay with women or happy with women, whatever the case. That's what makes it okay. Is that what you're saying?
Well, not exactly, but that plays into it, right? So again, because what you're
not exactly. Where's the disconnect?
Well, yeah, like I can call you a piece of shit in a way that is loving and friendly, right? I mean, you agree with that, right? Like if you and I, let's just say, as a hypothetical, right, Brady, if you and I happen to know each other for years and we were good friends and you know, we had done, you know, whatever together, right? A total, you know, whatever. There's a way where I could say, hey, Brady, you're acting like a fucking asshole right now. And we would laugh and we would have a great time and but also there's a way where even in that context of us being friends, I could say that where you would go, wow, SR, dude, like, fuck you, man. What a dick, right? Like, I mean, am I wrong on that? Or do you think that that's true?
Oh, no. If, you know, hypothetically, if we were friends and you told me I was acting like an asshole, yeah, I would be open to that. Definitely. And
in a silly context, but there would also,
hopefully I'd stop being a jackass.
Right. But there would also be but no. But if it was serious, right, there's a serious context where it's like, hey, you're going too far. But then there's a silly context where it's like, hey, you're just being a fucking right. Okay. So I think that distinction is I think that distinction is also true in things like drag and mockery and all of this stuff that falls into that gray area of appreciation and appropriation. And that's the consistency. That's where the criteria is based on. And that same difference, that same category change, right? Where it's like, hey, Brady, you're being an asshole. And we go, and then like, hey, Brady, seriously, you're being an asshole. And it's like, wow, whoa, sorry, man. Whoa, my bad. I think that is something that exists in these other places too. And that's good. That's good that we have that. Because again, like I was saying earlier, I love mockery. I think comedy and humor and mockery is phenomenal. But one of the biggest things that matters with that is truly where you're coming from when it comes to how you're presented. You say the exact same word. It is the exact same insult, right? And yet we're all having a great time, patting each other on the back, hugging each other, saying, oh my God, so great to see you again. Can't wait to see you next week. And then in the other time, you storm out the fucking door and you never talk to me again, you know? But yes, please, I'll shut up. Go ahead.
Can I ask, is there any context in which it is okay, where it's not inherently bad for a white person to put on black makeup to make their skin darker and perform as a black person?
There is a
context where that's okay.
I think there is, and that may not be a super popular opinion for everybody, and that's okay. Yeah, I think there is, though.
I was not expecting that. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I've been trying to say like this whole time is I do think there is, and that may not be super popular with everybody, and that's fine. But what I'm trying to say is, and again, in part, I'm blanking on some of the examples right now, but I know there are some, and I could absolutely bring them because I love sketch comedy, and there's so much of this that has existed over the years that's actually done in a way that brings in all of this cultural context and says like, we're putting this out here in your face, and yeah, you're gonna laugh at it, but you're gonna fucking think about this. You're going to think about why this is important and why we're having this conversation. So absolutely, I think there is some spaces and times where some of these things, again, like blackface specifically, that a lot of us really pull back from and cringe on for obvious good reasons, in my opinion. I just want to make that super clear in case anybody's out there going like, oh, SR's a real big fan of fucking minstrel shows or something. Fucking whatever. I mean, it's YouTube. It's gonna get clipped. I can't.
It's somebody out there is taking it out of context.
Now that I get, but yeah, I think that's because again, at least where I'm trying to come from, and I could be wrong on this, Brady. You know, maybe somebody calls in after this and rips my fucking head apart. You know, but I think because again, what my criteria is truly at the end of the day is going to be based on that respect, that sincerity, that supportiveness, that punching up as opposed to down. If you're in the denigration and the straight humiliation, the superiority, us versus them, they're less. If you're in that camp, it's going to be bad. I just feel like that's where the line is for me. And I feel like we do a similar line in other places already, you know? But yeah, what do you think on that? I know I've really been talking a lot, you guys. I don't know. This got me excited. So it's a good call, Brady. It's a great call.
You're opinionated.
I am. I know. If you didn't know that already, SR has opinions and he won't shut the fuck up.
He has opinions.
Yeah, please go ahead, Brady.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess, how do you know when somebody is punching up versus punching down? Well, you said, SR, that not necessarily somebody in blackface is necessarily punching down. What do you think, Helen?
Yeah. So, as somebody made up a really good point in the chat, is that if someone is wearing blackface, and the point of wearing the blackface is to
oh no, Helen is breaking up.
Find the person wearing the blackface. That's a pretty clear.
Hang on, try.
It's a bad internet connection. I don't
know. Go again, Helen. Start over again. That was a good point. We want to hear it.
Okay.
How do you know?
So I was saying, like, there's somebody made up a really point. I can think of comedy bit where I guess everybody else can hear me. I guess I don't know. Anyway,
you cut in and out a little bit.
A white actor wears blackface and it'd be okay. There's nothing I can do. Anyway,
oh shit! It just started.
It just
started. It just started roboting.
It's always like
Sure, Helen does have a good point, but I can't hear what it is.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I'm sorry. No. Hang on. No. Hang on. Bring up that comment again.
But I can't hear it.
Bring up that comment again. Well, I'll read it off real quick. Okay, so Bree is saying, I can think of a comedy bit where a white actor wears blackface and it be okay, namely by having them be surrounded by black people, and the entire point of the bit is to laugh at the guy in blackface. Sure. Like, what do you think about that, Brady? Is that something that do you feel like maybe okay? There's a point to that. Like maybe that is a situation that might be punching up instead of punching down.
Let me read that. It's okay. I can think of a comedy bit where a white actor wears blackface and it would be okay, namely by having them be surrounded by black people, and the entire point of the bit is to laugh at the guy in blackface. I suppose.
Okay. Yeah, but I see the hesitation.
Poe's Law says it gets hard to tell a parody from extreme views.
It does. It sure does. And I'm with you there. And I think, and I'm so honestly, I'm really, really glad that you brought that up, because that absolutely is an important thing in this conversation, I think, because there are some people, and I bet you know, Brady, I'm just gonna, if I was a betting man, I'd put $5 down on, you've probably seen some wacky call-in shows over the years. You know, we all have these days, man. And sometimes,
and we all,
right? Sometimes somebody calls in and is saying some shit that genuinely I don't know. I don't know if this person is serious or joking. I don't know if they're actually just you know.
You never know.
You're right.
You cannot tell trolls from non-trolls because the trolls are matched by real people.
Exactly. As wild as that may be sometimes. But there are, because I agree, there are some moments where it is so difficult that honestly it's exactly the same, right? But I do think, tell me if I'm wrong, y'all, but I do think you'd agree there are definitely some moments where you can tell that it's fake or that it's genuine. You know, I do think there are some indications, not always, not 100% of the time, but I think it's over 50% of the time. I think it's more often than not, you can actually get a pretty clear understanding. If 20 people called into the show today, I bet you we'd have a decent grasp of where most of those people are coming from. Hey, that guy was serious. That guy wasn't serious. She was serious. She wasn't serious. Like, not perfectly, But I think we're kind of tuned to that as people. We do have a decent understanding of that. Again, I think we've gotten it wrong. I think there are some clear examples we've gotten it wrong in the past few years. But I think there are some clear examples, too, we've gotten it right. Where somebody is doing something where in every other context, if somebody would have just said that in every other context, that person would be shunned and shut out of everything, because what a horrible person they would be for doing that.
Like everybody was like, that's not good. That's not good. That's not good. You're acting like an asshole. That's not good. Over and over again. They'd be like, they're going to get pushed to the side. But what happens is that people aren't having these conversations, and they just want it to be black and white. And everything is nuanced. Everything is situational. Everything is about like, does the context matters? Nuance matters. And if I can tell pretty quickly when someone's mocking women and when someone is serving women. I can tell. I can tell.
And again, it's not to say that you're perfect.
Maybe not everybody can. So how do you? Okay, not everybody can tell what is serving women versus mocking women. Some women are, I'm sure, offended. So just because you can tell, that's all well and good. But not everybody can. So now what?
Well, I think that's the situation we're in everywhere.
Of education. And I think that if you're in a position where you can educate someone.
Okay, so the people who are offended are not educated, or they are educated?
Well, I don't know. It depends on, again, it depends on the person I'm talking to.
Yeah, you don't know.
Because if someone.
Yeah, of course you do. Yeah. I don't know. You don't know.
Because I have to meet people. It's all about meeting people where they're at. That's the whole point. Like if someone is completely undereducated in drag culture and queer culture, and they just see, men dressing up as women as a mockery, I'm going to be like, no, let's have a conversation about this. If someone is educated, but they're being willfully ignorant, that's a different conversation.
I don't know what you're saying.
Well, look, we've been going for a minute, Brady. Yeah, we've been going for a minute, Brady. Yeah. And I think this was super, super great. I think we got a lot of different stuff out there, honestly. But seriously, I appreciate you calling and pushing back and trying to kind of hash some of this stuff out, because and this is what we're talking about. And I'm going to use this, by the way, Brady, I'm going to use all of this shamelessly to jump into the next topic that we're going to talk about, which is about community and so forth. So I'm just going to hang up on you completely abruptly and be completely rude. And in any other context, you'd think, wow, what a dick. But I'm hoping that because of this, deep friendship we've developed over this last, hour about that you're going to get it. But yeah, fuck you, Brady. Get off my fucking show. Get out of here. We did. We totally dropped her.
Fuck you. You're not welcome back. But you're welcome back.
Yeah, totally. Anytime. Like seriously. Great fucking call. Brought up so much good stuff, I think. Which, by the way, guys, I don't know if you know this. I don't know if anybody out there knows this. Just because there isn't a show happening on a day of the week where Skeptic Haven is on live, which we do, by the way, basically have a show almost every day of the week. There's a bunch of them, so go check them out. But you can still chat with us. You can still post things in the comments below. You can still hang out with us on Facebook, on Discord. There's so many different places where you can keep this shit going. So one of the things I think that came up here, right? And we were talking about it today with community. We still got time, folks. Give us a call if you want. Otherwise, Helen and I got stuff to say. We're going to talk about it. We got some stuff to talk about. With
We're going to talk more about our opinions.
We got stuff. Oh yeah. Oh, we are not exhausted yet. Trust me. It's going to be.
As Cindy McDonald, our friend Cynthia McDonald said, that we got opinions.
That's right. We got opinions. We going to tell you about them. We going to tell you about them for sure. I think one thing that is incredibly, incredibly valuable, and I think this was on display a little bit here with Brady, is we need to have a space where we can recognize that, broadly speaking, we're on the same path, we're on the same side, but we don't always come to the exact same nuanced conclusions. I think there is great value in that. I think if we want to step away from the religious mindset, from the dogmatic mindset, from this, we've been doing it for so long and all that good stuff, like, I think one of the biggest ways that we can do that is by truly engaging sincerely with disagreement in our own camp. And that's not easy. That is not easy. And I understand that that is the case. But I think it's valuable that we have a diversity of opinions and thoughts, even if we don't always align up. But Helen, how am I wrong? How am I a fucking asshole that is destroying everything? Or maybe you have another take.
Asshole. I do think you're a fucking asshole. But like, it's one, like, I think that, Sven, you brought up a really good point. I will say much of the atheist community is very bad at holding each other accountable. And orange, like, ableism is pretty rough, but it happens almost in every community in the West. Yes, this happens. And I think that because we just become as homogenous as religious communities or any other community where people get together and they have some kind of like-mindedness. And we have to be careful because, if you excuse, your atheist friend for saying like a sexist or racist joke, or, you need to call them out. It's going to be uncomfortable. Nobody's going to, they're not going to like it. You're not going to like it, but if we don't, we have to have other people, hold us accountable. That's what humanism is that other humans tell you like, hey man, maybe you shouldn't make fun of people that, are bound to wheelchairs. Not a good thing, man. Not cool.
Yeah.
And I think that needs to be happen over and over again. And again, like this comes with community. And religious communities, some of that stuff will actually let slide because they're like, oh, they'll pray to God, they'll become better, God will make them better people. God will change their hearts, and since those of us, we agree we are a social species and social consequences are a good motivator to get people to grow the fuck up. So I think that that's more important. And also that we listen to other people that are from communities that are different than ours and different cultures that are different than ours, because I am ignorant on a lot of cultural contexts in a bunch of different cultures. Because guess what? I don't live in that culture. I didn't grow up in it. I don't fucking know, but so I will defer to those people to educate me on that sort of thing. And I think that's more important than us trying, like, we understand that nuance and context matters. That's the most important thing. It doesn't like I can say like there's two people are going to call SR a fucking asshole. And then me, where I'm like, SR, you're a fucking asshole. Like we all understand there's a difference. We're smart.
Yeah. And spending quality time with each other is a huge part of developing that, right? And getting that the familiarity and so forth, because you aren't able to get that. I mean, again, this is why, I'm totally just shamelessly using, where we left off with Brady to springboard into this, because I think Brady brought up a really good point about the idea that like, you don't necessarily know off the rip what somebody's doing. Right. And that being said, I think more often than not, you can fairly quickly figure that out, especially if y'all getting together every fucking Wednesday for game night. I swear to God, you play Monopoly with somebody twice and you know that person. You know that person. You play an actual full game of Monopoly start to finish with somebody a couple of times, you're going to know a lot about this person, okay? Hey, nothing wrong with checkers, but like, I'm telling you, there are things that we can do, and we can gather around and discuss and spend time with each other and commune, and learn about each other and really really engage, you know, in a way that is beyond this awesome connection that we have online. I mean, it's phenomenal. This is where you and I met, you know, this is where I've met so many wonderful people.
Yeah.
And it's incredibly valuable. And I'm not poo-pooing it. I'm not poo-pooing it in the slightest. It is absolutely a phenomenal resource. We should all be using it more often. Like Helen said, Google is your friend. Figure out, you know, some of the places in your area or some of the places that, you know, you could, for instance, just totally throwing this out there, like spend some time, a few hours a week volunteering. Like, for instance, if you emailed skeptichaven@gmail.com, one could find, you know, a very wonderful and willing community that is looking for volunteers.
We love
you know,
people.
yeah, it's and again, that's just off the top of my head as a hypothetical.
We love people.
Yeah, just completely making that up. skeptichaven@gmail.com. If you're interested in volunteering, we're looking for call screeners.
You could be a mod on the you could be a mod on the Discord.
All kinds of different stuff. There is right. There is so many different opportunities, and that's just one place. That's just one place. Look, there's an email right there, scrolling underneath my face. It's good that we have an opportunity to gather.
I kind of want to bring this back. I want to kind of bring this back to what we were talking about before Brady called in about like having to plug in. Okay, it's like dating. You can say you want to date. You can be like on a dating app and like swipe right or swipe left, but if you're not actually going out on dates, the chances of you are getting laid are pretty small. So I suggest that you plug into community. You have to kind of take risks and take what you learned from religion with you. Take that. If something doesn't, it's not up to snuff, something doesn't feel right, don't just stick it out. You left your skeptical brain is, you know, you're like, if your skeptical brain saying like something smells fishy, it probably smells fishy. And if it's not the good for you, then you move on to the next one. And I think as adults, this is hard for us. I know as a 47-year-old, I'm very grateful for plugging in until I'm, and where I have plugged in online, but nothing be like going to come and stay with me at some point next year, because we've been talking online for 4 years and it has to happen. I mean, rule, I demand it, but like, that's because I actually want to hang out with him in person, give him a hug, and not just send him random like death metal videos and messenger. Right. And that's the kind of, it's of kindness and bonding you want to form with people, and I think that's so important that you can plug into these online communities. But just like any friendship, when you're in a room together, sharing a drink and laughing and, sharing camaraderie that isn't shared like on Discord or in a Zoom chat, it's like being physically close to someone is very important for our own mental health and building that community.
Yes, I agree. And I think, we're skeptics here. We're science lovers here. We change our views based on the available data, right? We know, folks, we actually have really, really solid reason to believe that there is some powerful stuff biologically that goes on when you hug somebody, when you get to see a friend that you haven't seen for a while in person, and you run up and you shake a hand or pat them on the back, or just these things send off all these phenomenal, wonderful chemicals inside of us, and help us feel excited, help us feel motivated, help us get back to doing stuff. I mean, there's all kinds of wonderful, wonderful benefits from just human to human touch, just contact with other people. It is incredibly, incredibly valuable. And so that's deeply important. It's good that we have those opportunities. Now, that doesn't mean that we shun the online communities. Absolutely not. We have to have both, I think. And funny enough, and some may call this a divine plan or providence or coincidence. I think it's just because we're fucking awesome. But our next caller actually is kind of going in this vein. So I'm just going to grab you right now. We got Math Pig on the line. Him over in Northern Ireland wants to ask about like community, like defining it online and stuff. Hey, Math Pig, what is up, brother? You're chatting with Hell's Bells and SR.
Hello. This is working then. Is the audio okay? I'm on the mobile with very low percentage.
You sound awesome, man. I mean, I'm not positive that the place that you're listing is real. I've never been there. I've never seen it. I've heard rumors. I'm skeptical, but we are hearing you great, man.
Man, we're trying to avoid the troubles. Let's not talk about the existence of Northern Ireland. That's a different conversation altogether.
Just reignited a fucking decades-long feud.
It's just like Finland. It's just like Finland. We're not sure if it exists or not.
Let's just rewind all over again. Hey, Matthew's on the line talking about community.
No, the main question that sparked this, and I've been watching for a wee while, texting back and forth with Wes and stuff, and you said one thing, and then I had to turn you down to do this, and now all I'm looking at is a white screen on my phone, so I'm not sure if I'm in and this, that, and the other. But you talked about community, and what me and Amber and a few other of us started, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, was to try and start a community of people and this and all the rest of it. And what I find is when it moved from like Google Plus, when it moved from like the forums and stuff, I felt it became more online, more polarized, more. The idea of a forum, to me, in my opinion, is something very similar to a real life existence. You've got these 20 people that you maybe connected on over D&D or connected on over Dragon Ball Z or, your love of snakes or something. But then, all of a sudden SR says something you totally disagree with. But, okay, he's in our group. We put up with it because we like him for the other 70% of his existence. We don't care about that. What I feel that's happened now with specifically Twitter and the rules being released and things like that is that you find people that agree with your polarizing opinions. And that goes everywhere. I'm not talking right wing or left wing. I'm talking everything. You take this one thing and make it part of your life. You make it your defining part of your life. And if people don't agree with that, you're done.
Yeah. No, I
so
think
my question comes to community online, community in Discord, community in real life. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I think all of them. And I would also just give some validation and some credence to exactly what you were just saying, Math Pig. I have absolutely, unfortunately, found that in a lot of different places. I think it's terrible. It makes me sad just on a personal level. Like, it really bums me the fuck out that happens. And I've seen it happen, and I've had it happen to friends or people I know or communities. I mean, all that stuff, right? Yeah, man, we know you spend more than a year hanging out online in any fucking community, man. There's going to be some problem. There's going to be some schism. All that shit's going to happen. We all know that, okay?
I'm like an internet slut. Yes, I know this. I get around.
You've been around the block, man. So
we all know it.
Yeah, absolutely, right? And so I think...
SR have been plugged into communities together when other shit went down. We were like, well, this isn't going to work out.
Right. So, and I think there is in part, okay, I'll put this opinion out there, and please, again, tear me to shreds, you guys, in the comments or emails or, Twitter, whatever, anything, please. If I'm wrong on this, but I think
it's going to go to the Skeptic Haven email.
Right. Yeah. Kat's going to be super pissed at me. She's going to have so many things to respond.
You've got the next 10 minutes free. You call me the C word. It means love. You know?
Yeah. No, I get you. Right. You got a different view out there. Yeah. Me and Crafty and Tusk and Tatty helped me understand that, Math Pig. But okay, so I love those.
Yeah, fucking love Crafty.
Fucking right. All a bunch of cunts, aren't they? Just a bunch of good cunts, you know. But okay, so I think
that's one of my best friends' nicknames.
I think you're right in the sense that there are some spaces, right? There are some opportunities and platforms where the community aspect is one that is extra tough to have. And I think, like, for instance, Twitter, man, I don't think arguing back and forth on Twitter posts after some fucking 5-second video somebody, posted up there. I don't know that is the best space to build a group of like-minded people who want to do things in their daily lives to make the world a better place. I don't know that that's the best opportunity for that, man. I don't know that Facebook is either.
Great idea.
Yeah. I don't know that those spaces are designed in a way that they really facilitate that and support that. Now, with that being said, somebody going to yell at me in 5 minutes and say, but Elliot, I found so many phenomenal communities on Discord and Facebook and Twitter. You're wrong. And it's like, well, no, hang on. I think there is the capability to have that.
No, I won't fight back against you on that. I found Discord communities that are very accepting of
absolutely.
And I would feel that I don't want to say fake or anything that, and like, you know, everybody, well, most people watching this that have known, I'm famous, you know, people know my opinion. People know what I feel towards gay and LGBTQ and stuff like that. And, you know, I have been called a transphobe because of my certain opinions on dating in that area. But that's down to my own personal preferences. Like, people are turned on by what they're turned on by. And that's the whole point of the LGBTQ and your thing and your sexuality and stuff. And because I won't, you know, engage in sexual relations with certain things, or Jesus Christ, certain people, I'm considered a transphobe, you know, and it's, so I understand, like, every community that I found online in the last 3-4 years has become polarized in whatever direction, either politics, religion, LGBTQ. It's the internet, and with Twitter specifically, has just pushed everybody in every direction.
Helen,
we have to be careful, like in this community, like, conflict is not abuse. You're going to, because a lot of conflict triggers feelings of past traumas that you have to differentiate from. Not saying, and because this has happened to me, it happens to a lot of people, and you have to learn to differentiate, because you have to go, why this person is saying that they don't want to date someone that's trans, triggering me. Why is it upsetting me? Because at the end of the day, who you date shouldn't matter to me. I don't care. It's not my life. And why am I excluding someone for, like, 98% of their support is for queer people like me to have rights? Why is their dating life triggering me? That's a you problem. And we have to, you always have to come back to, does this person's morals and what they say align to my values? Yes. Is it 100%? No, because nobody's 100% on fucking anything. Nuance is a thing, and we pick your battles, man. And I think we need to have a conversation that the left will. We have a tendency to eat ourselves. We are very good at pointing out problems, and we're very good at, you know, bringing arguments and saying, like, hey man, that's not cool. But if we don't allow in our own circles grace, like, allow people grace, and that person doesn't have to agree with every single point that I have. But if we can find commonality, that's the more important conversation that we want to have. And I'm sick and tired of people saying like, well, if you don't agree 100% with me, then fuck you. Or you said something, that was off color 5 years ago. That means you're the same person.
Right.
Fuck you.
Right.
No, we are going to beat ourselves.
I think
we have to find a balance.
Yes, I totally agree. And I think one of the things, I mean, just phenomenal. And one of the moments recently that really made me have this kind of step back, kind of like, I don't know that I feel so great about this feeling was, I think it was Matt Damon, like came out a year ago or something. Like it wasn't terribly long ago, but it also wasn't like last week. But he came out not super long ago and he made this public statement and he was basically saying like, hey guys, in my kind of casual life, I had used the F slur still. And I didn't really think about it. I just thought, I support gay. Hey, gay people can get married. I don't care, but I'm going to use the F slur every now and then too, and it's just how I grew up and it's how I was raised and all this stuff. And he said, I had a real long conversation with one of my daughters and she sat me down and she said, Dad, this is what you're not seeing. And after that conversation, I realized that that's not okay, Matt. That's not right that I was doing that. And I needed to change and I needed to do something different. And a bunch of people on my side fighting for my causes, disgusted by the sickening Christian nationalism being shoved down everybody's fucking throat, the criminalization of human beings just for being human beings. The people on that side with me heard that from Matt Damon and said, what a fucking piece of shit. I'll never support him and he'll never be on my side again. And it was like, whoa, guys.
You've never been wrong about anything.
Yeah. I mean, for flying fuck's sake, you've never
been wrong. You came out of the womb being a social justice warrior.
Oh my God. You're saying there was nothing. There was nothing about you growing up that was forced into your brain and culture and behavior against your will that still sometimes it doesn't just fucking come up as a fucking knee-jerk reaction. Like, Jesus Christ, people. The difference between somebody like Matt Damon putting out a statement like that today and somebody like, oh, I don't know, let's just randomly pick somebody like a Candace Owens or a Ben Shapiro or anybody we can think of. Put a person in here. How many of us have heard
actively fighting against their own interests?
I mean, true, but how many people? How many of us have heard literal Nazis in the last few years say outright atrocious fucking things? And it's like, wait a second, are you seriously telling me? You think that statement from that guy about rounding everybody up and putting them in camps and stuff, you think that statement and the statement from Matt Damon about how, hey guys, I was kind of supportive, but I kind of realized like I wasn't really. And so I worked on some stuff and I stopped doing some bad things that I was doing. You think those are the same? You've got to be fucking kidding me. No wonder we don't make any goddamn progress anymore. It's because we're all too busy bitching about the fact that you don't have enough rainbow stickers. And it's like, for fuck's sake, you guys, what more can Helen do but be actively giving time out of her day, money out of her pocket to be fighting for this fucking cause? And then all of a sudden, Helen says one day about something about drag shows or something, and you go, oh, well, obviously she's not an ally. It's like, you gotta be kidding me. What is right? She's on our fucking camp. This is somebody on our fucking team. I absolutely agree. I think we've all touched on this. There is undeniably a section and an ideology where it's like the slightest misstep and you're cut off forever. And I think that is a huge hindrance to our community. And that's again one of the things we're trying to do. please.
No, I wanted math pick because this is the first time you and I have talked. I really like, because obviously like you care about this shit.
Mm-hmm.
What has been your experience like with the online community? Because you mentioned that you were on forums where at the first you thought people would be more accepting, and now you're seeing that just because you said one thing, everybody's like, well, now fuck you, you're a Nazi.
I have definitely had, fortunately and unfortunately, a bunch of different interactions. I've had good, I've had bad, I've had middle of the road. And I think a lot of it comes down to, at the end of the day, and this is kind of, again, back to what we were kind of talking about with Brady a little bit, about that line between appropriation and appreciation. I do think there is some good consistency there. I do think there is a good criteria that we can implement, and I think that's oftentimes where
Sir,
yes,
I wanted to hear from Math. I wanted to hear.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. Math Pig dropped. The connection dropped. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
The connection. Okay.
I'm so sorry. I probably should have said that.
To be fair, I was not paying attention to the private
okay.
chat.
I'm supposed to be. No, that's okay. I'm supposed to be running the show and like saying something, and I just fucking kept going and just I was just bulldozing over everything.
I'm like, what? I'm like, I just said it when he texted me. And I'm like, I started saying blah 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 blah.
Yeah, we know it. We know that asshole doesn't shut up. But
typical white man privilege.
That's right. Just coming over and taking everybody's shit. But no, I think. I truly think a lot of what determines those good, bad, middle of the road kind of outcomes comes from an intention, comes from a specific goal in mind, and the people that are there to do the work on a daily and weekly basis to make sure that happens and that focus stays in the forefront. And that's, I want to touch on this just a sec before as we're kind of wrapping up here and stuff. But I think that's something we overlook a little bit, is that there's work. There's work that goes on. I can tell you right here, right now, there is a whole shit ton of awesome people behind the scenes here at Skeptic Haven that are doing stuff on a daily basis to make this stuff happen. All of our wonderful shows and everything. We are working all the freaking time, every single week. And that is true for all of these wonderful communities. And as awesome as it is, as exciting as it is, to find people with similar ideas, like-minded folks, people that have had similar experiences that you've had, good or bad, and have made it through and become stronger, because of those, right? That's so awesome. And we get real excited, and we get real pumped up, and we wave the flags, and we show up on the Sunday, and we're there, and we got the $10 today, and it's awesome. And then a week goes by.
By the way, we will take $10 super chats.
Yeah, right. If you send us 10, yeah, please. But a week goes by, a month goes by, a year goes by. Time happens, or disagreements, or a whole bunch of different things can occur, and we lose that fire, we lose that passion, and not just passion, but the compassion. We forget that these are our friends. These are our teammates fighting for a cause. It happens. It's a human thing. We all do it.
Like we have to allow, like, if I'm going to steal something from the religious focus, is allowing people grace.
Yeah.
That not someone is not going to be 100% on your wavelength. But what you do is that if like 95% is on your wavelength and they're undereducated or they have a different opinion, that's fine. They're allowed that, because why did we leave religion in the first place? Because we didn't want to be part of groupthink.
Yeah.
Groupthink happens in politics. Groupthink happens in social issues. Groupthink happens in workplaces.
Yeah.
And if you want to be a skeptic and you want to have nuanced conversations, you want to see things from a broader spectrum, we have to allow that space. And because we will eat ourselves. Like if we really want the world to be better, then there has to be a place for people that might not be 100% there, but they're like, but I want social progress. And that's the most important thing.
And we need to be comfortable.
And we have to be the arbitrators of it. And we have to be the arbitrators of this because like I don't know if you went through this, SR, but like when I started joining the atheist community and the online forums back during the plague times, I thought that I would be surrounded by open, woke, like-minded people. And then I quickly found, I was like, oh no, there's assholes here too.
Not always.
I'm like, oh my God, there are atheists here that don't think I have anything valid to say because I own a vagina. Wow. Okay.
Because you're right. Because you're part of the queer community. Clearly, you can't have an opinion in this moment. Yep.
I can't. I'm queer and I'm a woman and I'm saying things online.
How dare you? How dare you? Yeah. No, I totally agree, and I think really that is a beautiful kind of bow on this discussion of community. And it's not the end of this discussion. We're going to keep having this because that's what we are here. That's one of the big focuses for Skeptic Haven, right? That's one of the focuses, I know for you and I individually. I mean, you and I have always been focused on that and bringing people together and connecting with people and providing that support and so forth. And again, it does take work, and that's okay, you guys. Don't be afraid of that work. It's good work. It's good work that leads to good results. And without it, we are not going to see that progress. And we want that. We want that. So let's fucking make it happen. We can do this, you guys. There are a lot of different fucking ways that we can, and we can gather together. And if you're needing some more community, there are an amazing amount of resources and ways to find that both in person and online. Right here, of course.
There's so much out there now.
Right.
Yeah, we have it here. We have a Discord.
Yep.
That you can get connected with our Discord, volunteer with us, volunteer with Recovering from Religion. I volunteer for 3 organizations. I volunteer for here, I volunteer for the ACA, and I volunteer for RFR. Yeah,
see, it's doable,
I'm not
y'all.
Getting paid.
It's doable.
Yeah, you can do it.
And it's a fucking thing. Oh my God. And speaking of, by the way,
I have a full-time job and a real life. Yeah, let's talk about
and a family.
One more thing.
Yeah, please.
And a family. I have a husband and children, though they're adults, but I have a household. I have cats that need my attention. So, but what I will say is that whether you're plugging into online communities or not, don't go this alone. You're not alone. We are here. And finding community and connecting with people that have diverse backgrounds, that have different perspectives is so important, not only for you to heal from religion, to heal from bad ideas, but it helps you become a more nuanced, better person, to hear ideas that are outside of your own. And I can tell you that the atheist community is just as diverse, opinionated, and also really those of us that care want to see the world to become a better place. And those are the kind of communities that you have to connect to, whether it's online. I suggest online and in person as much as possible. I love a hug. And that's how we'll do better. But it takes work. And because we don't have a church to go to, we have to do the work to make it happen. Even if you're just running a D&D campaign.
Exactly.
It's better than just sitting at home and then bitching about, how Christians are bad on Twitter. Don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do more than that.
Yeah. And I think that's a great point. And we'll have to do this again where we kind of talk about, the different types of communities and how you can do those and stuff.
Oh my God.
Because we
just
definitely.
A side note, if we had Brady came in and we had a very long conversation, and what if when they started asking about blackface and drag queens, we immediately stopped and be like, oh, you know what, you don't understand what you're talking about. We don't want to have a conversation. What would that do?
Yeah. How does that build coalition? How does that get us to a better world tomorrow?
Yeah. Right. And those, and they're not comfortable conversations, but the more nuanced conversations we have with people that, they're 90% there. Just some things we're like, okay, let's talk about nuance. Let's talk about, context, which can be hard, even if the person's online with you. But I'm hoping somebody else watches this and goes,
Yeah, exactly.
And shifts their perspective a little bit.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And has a moment after this. No, I'm with you. I'm always for that. We don't want it to end at the end of this show. We want you to take this into your daily life and have these conversations and think about stuff. Yeah. Because that's what community is at the end of the day. That's how we really keep it going. And I always love hanging out with you, Helen, but I kind of hate this part because it means that we're getting near the end. So our fun hangout time, unfortunately, is dwindling here. But for any
I know Matthew's inviting us to an after show.
Ooh, okay. We might have that coming up, y'all.
Ooh, okay, we can go do after show.
Yeah. But tell everybody, if they don't know, where they can find you and all the amazing communities that you support and all the amazing community building that you do, that I know you've been doing for quite a long time. Where can people find you? How do they get in contact with you and learn some more shit about you and stuff?
So the best way to reach them, if you have questions, you want to get involved with any sort of the organizations that SR and I were talking about, please reach out to me at helen@recoveringfromreligion.org. It is my RFR email. Or you can just friend me on Facebook. Just put Helen Greene with an E on the end. It will have my face. Just do it there too. The most, just you all can just plug in and find me. I'm also on Discord. As Hell Spells, I'm somewhere. If you put in my name, Helen Greene or Hell Spells, into the search bar, you'll find me. I also, as well, if you or someone is dealing with doubt and non-belief and really struggling with some stuff, even if they're just changing religions, have them contact Recovering from Religion. Go to recoveringfromreligion.org. Or they can call our hotline at 184-I-DOUBT-IT. Or there's also international numbers if you're not in the West on our website. And we have an online community that is heavily moderated, that is a safe place for people to connect. If you're a former Muslim and you want to connect with other Muslims, there's a chat for that. If you want to be an empowered woman or, a positive masculinity queer community, people that have dealt with people that have committed suicide and finding a connection with that type of community is also a part of our community. And we have support groups. We have hangouts. We have a podcast we do every Monday night. SR's done a few episodes. Probably going to do another one because I'm going to tell him to.
Anytime.
That's what I do.
Anytime.
So yeah, same with Skeptic Haven, we have a Discord. We have a show several times. We have a show several times a week where you can connect with community here in our own chat or on the Discord. It's really important for us to all plug in with each other. And SR, how do people find you?
Oh yeah, that's great. It's super easy because honestly, most of the time, if you go somewhere and you just type in secular rarity, you're going to see my dumb face coming up yelling about something. I'm often here hanging out with the Skeptic Haven crew over on the ACA on AXP and other wonderful shows there. I have been hanging out with a bunch of people lately and stuff. I'm always so thrilled to be doing that. And yeah, please, guys, connect with us. This is what we're all about. I know, both just on a personal level for myself and Helen, but again, on a community level here, on a channel level here. This is what we do. This is why we have so many wonderful people behind the scenes right now and every day of the week, that are given their time. And, you know, speaking of that, if you're looking for an opportunity to connect with a community in person or online, if you're looking to maybe just give back a little bit, well, there is a freaking way, because we are looking for volunteers here at Skeptic Haven for producing, booking, call screening, modding, all kinds of different stuff, you guys. So if you are interested in that, please shoot us an email, skeptichaven@gmail.com. Also feel free to just connect with us on Facebook, here, anything like that, man. There's a bunch of different ways to reach out to us, guys. And you know, if you are hanging out here and you're supporting and you're already getting so much value out of this incredible community, like I know so many of you are, there are a bunch of easy freaking ways where you can do that. Some ways where it doesn't cost you a single penny or hardly any effort of your fucking life at all whatsoever. I know you're busy, but you watch this fucking video, so you got at least a second to like and subscribe. Maybe shoot a fucking comment underneath it. All you got to do is say good show. Fuck it. Just write a fucking comment that says, I'm writing this because SR yelled at me. Like, do it. It's super easy.
You can click the dislike button and then dislike it again twice.
Exactly. It's so easy. I know you have the time. I know you can do it. And I know you love us so much here. You love our gorgeous faces so much that you're just gonna do it. I have the faith.
And honestly, if you volunteer with Skeptic Haven, you become 20% cooler, because I said so.
It literally, it is just as true.
Your coolness ratio.
Exactly. It is just as true as you going to heaven. I'm positive on that one. If though you're saying to yourself, if you're saying to yourself, you know what, look, I can do just a little bit more. I have a couple of bucks that I can give. There is a super easy way to do this. You can hit us up on Patreon by going to patreon.com/skeptichaven. Of course, we have to thank all of the phenomenal people that are helping making this possible by being Patreon members. Right. We have some wonderful patrons like Paul Kamish, Karen Butcher, Puck, Helen Greene, Logan Fisher, Amanda McLeod, Eric Ozols, Rion, Deneen Murphy, Dan D, Michael Wiseman, Sonny Shell, Aaron Coalson, and Phil Calderone. I remember when that list was like 3 to 5 people. And to just see it continue to grow is awesome, because I know what that means is we get to do more great stuff here. We get to provide more awesome community for all of y'all, and for people in the future that don't even know that they're going to need it, because that's every day. There's more and more coming out, joining our side, joining our team, and getting ready to help make changes in this world. And that's what we need, y'all. And one way
shout out to our wonderful crew.
That's right. Yes, we have an awesome freaking crew that is all volunteering, taking a bunch of time out of their days and helping us out. Yes, they keep us on track. They yell at us whenever we ramble. Like right now, they're saying, please, God, Elliot, just shut the fuck up. But I can't go just yet, because I have to let you know that just because it's not Sunday at 7 p.m. Central Time, there are great things happening here on the Skeptic Haven channel. Make sure you check out the Black Free Thinkers on Mondays, our newest freaking show here with an absolutely stellar crew. They are a phenomenal group of people that have been having some wonderful conversations, bringing an absolutely beautiful, close, on-the-ground human connection to stories and stuff. Go check them out Mondays. On Thursdays, The Sunny Spot, one of our longest-running shows here. I love this show. We have always got great guests on. We have always got great topics. I learned so freaking much. On Saturdays, we double up with the Global Atheists and Women Atheists Unload. These are the freaking shows, by the way. If you're not watching these and you don't know who the crew is.
Like Sunny did interview Dan Barker, the
awesome.
president of
awesome.
Freedom from Religion Foundation, which is
Mhm.
another community that you could plug into. So
Another
I
great
really
community.
recommend watching that interview. Cynthia did it. It was really great. So no, it's Woman Atheists Unload. I am sorry. I'm lying.
That's okay.
So
That's
it's
okay. You've got
that's part of our shows. But Sunny also has wonderful interviews with wonderful atheist activists. Oh my God, I am a terrible shiller. I'm going to shut up now.
No, that's okay. No, it's perfect. It's perfect because yes, Sunny Spot on Thursdays, Saturdays, the Global Atheists and Women Atheists Unload. And then of course, right here on Sundays at 7 p.m., we have this wonderful call-in show, Let's Talk. We've got some great people coming up here next week. Also, I have to give just a massive quick shout out to our wonderful brand new producer for this show. First time doing it, Mr. Michael. We greatly appreciate you, brother. You have done a wonderful job. And we are so excited to have you on the team, and everybody else that has joined and has hung out with us and so forth. We really appreciate it. I loved today. I thought it was great. I thought we had a great freaking time. And this is what we're here for. Every Sunday, 7 p.m., man. This is easy. Grab your snacks, grab your drinks, whatever your thrills and funsies are. I don't care. Bring them because we always want to hear your topics. We always want to hear what you're talking about. So, hey, next week, Sunday at 7 p.m. Central, give us a call and let's talk. We'll see you next time, guys.
Bye.
This is Skeptic Haven. Let's talk.